Lust is not just a fleeting desire, a momentary weakness, or an innocent indulgence. It is a venom, a slow-acting poison that invades the deepest recesses of your mind, corrupts your body, and blinds your spirit. It doesn't announce itself with the roar of a storm. It enters quietly, almost imperceptibly, until you wake up one day and realize that it has taken everything that mattered: your clarity, your strength, your sense of purpose. In the blink of an eye, you lose the essence of who you are. Your mind, once sharp and full of possibility, becomes clouded, trapped in a web of compulsive thoughts, false illusions, and fractured beliefs. Your body, a vessel of vitality and energy, withers under the weight of addiction, exhaustion, and self-doubt. And your spirit is shackled, locked in a cage, separated from the divine, the higher calling you were meant to fulfill. This is the true cost of lust. It doesn't just steal moments of weakness, it steals your very soul, leaving you numb to your true potential. But here's the darkest part of it all. The longer you feed it, the more it grows. You think you can control it. You think you can stop whenever you want. But with each passing day, it wraps itself tighter around you until the chains are invisible and you're a prisoner to your own desires. Lust is not just a temptation, it's a war waged on three fronts: mind, body, and spirit. And once it wins, it doesn't just take your strength, it leaves you hollow. This is the story of what happens when lust destroys the very core of who you are. This is the story of how it breaks the mind-body-spirit connection. 1. The silent seed of destruction. Lust's quiet invasion. Lust doesn't announce itself like a thunderclap or a blazing fire. It's a whisper in the dark, a subtle seed planted in the fertile soil of the human mind. It is slow, insidious, and deceptively harmless at first. It doesn't seem dangerous. It promises pleasure, excitement, and escape. But in reality, it's an infection. And just like a seed, once planted, it grows, spreads, and ultimately destroys everything it touches. At first, lust appears as a fleeting thought, a glance, a passing desire, a curiosity. It doesn't feel like a threat. It feels like something natural, even harmless, an impulse that everyone has. But here's the problem. Lust never stays small. It feeds on repetition. The more you give into it, the more it takes root. What once started as a harmless thought becomes an obsession, and what seemed like a passing fantasy turns into a consuming force that starts shaping how you view yourself, others, and the world around you. The most dangerous part of lust's invasion is how quietly it destroys your ability to think clearly. It doesn't shout. It doesn't make a scene. It simply distorts the lens through which you view reality. Your mind becomes obsessed with satisfying fleeting desires, pushing out anything that doesn't serve the immediate gratification of those needs. Your thoughts begin to circle around one thing: the next fix, the next high, the next release. Slowly but surely, you lose the ability to focus on anything of lasting value. Your ability to think critically, to make clear decisions, becomes compromised. You no longer see life with clarity, but through the fog of lust-driven desires. It doesn't just affect your thoughts. Lust begins to change the way you interact with the world. Relationships, once based on respect, trust, and genuine connection, become twisted. You start to see people not as whole beings with minds, hearts, and souls, but as objects to be used for your own gratification. Your ability to connect with others on a meaningful level diminishes. What once brought you joy and fulfillment, true, healthy connection, is replaced by shallow encounters and momentary pleasures. The seed has taken root, and you no longer see people the same way. You see them as tools for your own lust-driven goals. Your body also becomes a casualty of this quiet invasion. Lust, when left unchecked, takes a toll on your physical health. The body, which was designed to be a temple, becomes a battleground. The repetitive cycle of indulgence, addiction, and release leads to exhaustion, physical imbalance, and a weakening of the self-discipline needed to maintain a healthy lifestyle. It creates a sense of emptiness, a longing for something more, but no matter how much you indulge, you're left wanting. The body becomes disconnected from its purpose. Instead of being a vessel of strength, vitality, and purpose, it becomes an instrument of self-sabotage. But perhaps the most devastating effect of lust's quiet invasion is its destruction of the spirit. Lust creates a divide between you and your higher calling. It distracts you from what truly matters, connection, purpose, and fulfillment. It locks you into a cycle of shallow pursuits, leaving you spiritually drained and disconnected from the divine. Your soul begins to wither, starved for deeper meaning, until you find yourself living only for the next moment of indulgence, never for the higher purpose that once called you to something greater. Lust is a quiet thief. It doesn't burst through the door. It sneaks in bit by bit, taking pieces of your mind, your body, and your spirit, until you wake up one day and realize it has taken everything. The silent seed of destruction has done its work, and you're left a shell of who you once were. But the power to reclaim yourself is still in your hands. The first step is recognizing this invasion for what it truly is before it's too late. 2. The mind's war. Lust's manipulation of thought. Lust doesn't simply alter behavior. It starts with the mind, manipulating thoughts, twisting perceptions, and warping reality. It isn't just an urge or a fleeting desire. It's a battle for the very fabric of your mental clarity. The mind is the battlefield, and once lust takes root there, it's like a parasite, draining your ability to think clearly, focus on purpose, and make wise decisions. At first, it's subtle, a glance, a thought, something seemingly harmless. But soon, lust begins to invade your mental space, like an invading army, forcing itself into your daily thought patterns. It clouds your judgment, distorts your view of relationships, and fuels an unhealthy obsession with pleasure and gratification. The mind, which was once focused on goals, creativity, and the pursuit of meaningful connections, becomes consumed by one singular obsession, desire. This war doesn't just play out in the background. It becomes a constant mental noise. The more you entertain lustful thoughts, the more they grow in strength. This is not just about fleeting fantasies. It's about how those fantasies begin to control your thought. They're no longer just idle musings. They become the dominant thoughts, infiltrating your every moment, making it difficult to concentrate on anything else. Over time, this mental preoccupation erodes your capacity for genuine thought, leaving you reactive, impulsive, and distracted. Lust distorts your reality by redefining your priorities. It turns what should be a balanced, purpose-driven mind into a prisoner of impulse. You begin to measure success, happiness, and even self-worth based on external, fleeting gratification. The mind, which should be aligned with higher principles, is pulled into a vortex of immediate satisfaction. This is when rational thought starts to dissolve. Your ability to think about long-term consequences is clouded, and the short-term pleasure becomes the only thing that matters. Your relationships, goals, and ambitions become secondary to the pursuit of that elusive satisfaction. This is not just the weakening of willpower, it's the subversion of your core values. Lust doesn't just hijack the mind, it hijacks your identity. It erodes your self-respect and begins to convince you that these impulses are a natural part of who you are. You start believing that you are defined by your desires, rather than your virtue. Your mind begins to internalize the lie that this is who you're supposed to be, pushing you further away from your true self. The consequences of this manipulation are devastating. Your ability to think critically is diminished. Rational decisions become more difficult, and moral clarity is obscured. The mind loses its power to direct your life in a meaningful way. Your purpose becomes distorted, and you lose the ability to see beyond the next craving. What's even more insidious is that the longer you allow lust to govern your thoughts, the harder it becomes to break free. The neural pathways that reinforce these desires become stronger, and your mind begins to operate under the false assumption that this is normal, that this is your natural state. This isn't just about a fleeting thought. It becomes a state of mind, an identity, and a mental prison. Lust's manipulation of thought is a dangerous game. It's the slow erosion of your mental clarity, purpose, and identity. It starts as a seed, but when nurtured, it grows into a fortress that imprisons your mind and steals your freedom. And in this war, the mind is the first casualty. Once it falls, everything else begins to crumble. 3. The body's betrayal. How lust destroys the vessel. Lust doesn't just impact the mind, it leaves a lasting mark on the body, turning the vessel of life into a prison. The body, our most sacred and tangible connection to the world, was designed to be strong, resilient, and purposeful. Yet when lust takes hold, It strips the body of its vitality and reduces it to a mere object, a tool for fleeting pleasure. The effects are far deeper than mere physical exhaustion. They ripple through the very core of your being, leaving you drained, disconnected, and weakened. Lust is addictive. Like any other form of addiction, it creates an insatiable craving that never truly satisfies. Each indulgence might offer temporary relief, a brief high, but the body, like a machine, starts to deteriorate under the pressure. The more you give in, the more it demands. Over time, your physical health suffers. You experience constant fatigue, lack of motivation, and a general sense of depletion. Your once vibrant energy fades as lust consumes more and more of your attention, leaving you lethargic and lifeless. Lust is it steals more than just your energy. It robs you of your self-respect and dignity. When you surrender to your desires, the body begins to function not as a temple, but as a tool of gratification. This warped relationship with your own body leads to a deep sense of shame and guilt. The body that was meant to be treated with reverence becomes a prison, bound by the chains of shame, neglect, and abuse. You no longer take care of your body because it's no longer viewed as sacred. It becomes a means to an end, an instrument of temporary pleasure instead of a vessel for something higher. Physiologically, lust takes a toll on the body in subtle yet powerful ways. Increased levels of stress hormones such as cortisol flood your system during indulgence, contributing to chronic stress, sleep disturbances, and a weakened immune system. These hormonal imbalances affect everything from your digestion to your skin. The body's natural rhythms, those meant to align with vitality, health, and energy, become skewed. Lust leaves you stuck in a cycle of overstimulation and depletion, unable to experience true rest or rejuvenation. Over time, this affects your ability to perform in every area of life, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Lust also distorts your physical self-image. Instead of seeing yourself as a whole, powerful being, you begin to view your body as fragmented and disconnected from your true purpose. The obsession with immediate pleasure fosters a deeper objectification of the self. You look in the mirror and no longer see the potential of what your body can achieve. Instead, you see a tool, a means for gratifying your desire. Your self-worth becomes tied to fleeting pleasures, not the true strength that comes from nurturing your body and aligning it with your higher purpose. But perhaps the most insidious betrayal is the way lust affects your body's ability to function in a balanced, healthy way. It clouds your judgment and decreases your self-control, making it harder to focus on healthy habits like proper nutrition, exercise, and mental wellness. You begin to prioritize instant gratification over long-term health, sacrificing your body's well-being for temporary relief. Your body becomes a battleground, trapped in the grip of desires that rob it of its true potential. The truth is simple. Lust doesn't just weaken your mind, it drains your body. It turns your vessel of life into a fragile, exhausted shell, incapable of fulfilling its true purpose. The only way to reclaim your strength is to stop surrendering your body to these cravings and to begin respecting it once again for what it truly is, a powerful, sacred vessel meant for higher things. 4. The Spirit's descent. Lust is a barrier to connection with the divine. Lust is more than a physical desire, it is a spiritual blockade, a force that cuts off the soul from its divine connection. When we surrender to lust, we are not just giving in to a momentary pleasure or indulgence. We are severing our link to the higher purpose that exists beyond our earthly cravings. Lust clouds the spirit and creates a barrier, often imperceptible at first, but as it deepens, it isolates us from the divine source of life, meaning and true fulfillment. The Spirit in its purest form is designed to be in alignment with truth, with love, with life. It is our connection to something greater than ourselves, whether it is God, the universe, or the higher consciousness. Lust, however, thrives on selfishness and short-term satisfaction. It thrives on separation, not connection. Every time we feed our lustful desires, we are choosing the temporary over the eternal, the hollow over the meaningful. It's an act of distraction that pulls us away from the sacred. The more we indulge in lust, the more we fracture our spiritual integrity. We begin to view the world not through the eyes of divine connection, but through the lens of pleasure and consumption. Lust distorts the spirit's natural rhythm, turning it into a tool of selfishness and disconnection. It is as if a veil is placed over the soul, keeping it from seeing the beauty and purpose that awaits. Instead of being attuned to higher vibrations, the spirit is tuned to the lowest frequencies of immediate gratification, and fleeting desires. The act of lust itself creates a ripple effect within the spirit. When we engage in it, whether physically or mentally, we betray our true self, our divine essence. This betrayal doesn't go unnoticed. The spirit feels this disconnection, and it withers in response. Over time, the longer we allow lust to control our thoughts and actions, the harder it becomes to access the divine within us. The sacred energy that once flowed freely now becomes blocked, channeled only into the pursuit of fleeting, materialistic pleasure. It's crucial to understand that the spiritual consequences of lust are not limited to the moments of indulgence. Lust seeds self-deception. It convinces you that you can find joy in temporary satisfaction, that fulfillment lies in the transient and the carnal. It pulls you into a constant cycle of longing, where the thirst for more can never be quenched. The divine connection, on the other hand, brings peace, contentment, and a sense of completeness that lust can never provide. But because the spirit is so clouded by the immediate desires of the flesh, we fail to recognize the lasting joy that can only come through spiritual alignment. Lust also distorts our perception of love. True love is not born from the pursuit of pleasure or possession. It is born from the connection of souls. Lust, however, reduces love to a mere transaction of bodies, a transaction that lacks the depth, meaning and true connection that can only come from the divine. When we give in to lust, we cheapen our understanding of love, pushing us further away from the connection we were always meant to have with the divine and with others. The damage lust does to the spirit is profound. It creates a barrier that keeps us from experiencing the fullness of our purpose. When the spirit is locked in this prison, it cannot soar. It cannot reach its true potential. We are left adrift, yearning for something more but never able to grasp it, because we've allowed our connection to the divine to be severed. And so the longer lust has its hold, the deeper the wound grows. But the good news is this: through awareness, intention, and a desire to heal, the barrier can be broken, the connection can be restored, and when it is, the spirit will awaken to its true divine purpose once again, breaking the chains, reclaiming the mind, body, and spirit. Breaking the chains of lust is not an easy task, but it is the most powerful and transformative decision you can make in your life. It requires you to reclaim your mind, body, and spirit from the grips of a force that seeks to dismantle everything that makes you whole. The journey toward freedom is challenging, but it is also a path of immense strength and restoration. The first step in breaking these chains is understanding that you have the power to choose. You are not helpless. You are not defined by your impulses. The choices you make today shape the person you will become tomorrow. Reclaiming the mind. The mind is the battle. Lust thrives on thought, on the images, fantasies, and desires that cloud your thinking. To break free, you must regain control over your thoughts. It starts with awareness. Recognize the triggers, the moments of weakness, the patterns and the beliefs that fuel your desire. Then begin to change the narrative in your mind. Replace the toxic thoughts with those that are pure, focused, and uplifting. Meditation, mindfulness, and prayer are powerful tools to sharpen your mind and build resilience against temptation. You must also confront the lies that lust feeds you. It tells you that it's harmless, that you can indulge without consequence. But you know better now. You understand that lust distorts reality, turning fleeting pleasure into lifelong bondage. Fight back with truth. Feed your mind with the wisdom of great thinkers, spiritual leaders, and philosophers who have faced their own battles with temptation and came out victorious. The mind that is clear, grounded, and aligned with truth is one that cannot be easily manipulated. Reclaiming the body. The body is the temple, the vessel through which you experience the world. Lust seeks to use and abuse your body, turning it into an object of mere gratification. But you were not made to be ruled by desires that degrade you. Reclaim your body by treating it with respect, honoring it as the sacred vessel it is. This means making conscious choices about what you consume, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Feed your body with nourishment that heals, strengthens, and uplifts. Exercise, proper nutrition, and rest are vital to restore balance and regain control over your physical self. A body that is healthy and vibrant becomes the greatest ally in your battle against lust. It is harder for the chains of addiction to hold when you feel strong, energetic, and in command of your own being. Physical discipline is also a powerful tool. By training your body, whether through martial arts, yoga, or other forms of exercise, You build inner strength that translates into the power to say no to temptation. When you cultivate a deep respect for your body, you create a space where lust no longer has control. Reclaiming the spirit. The spirit is the source of your true strength, but lust tries to sever this connection, making you feel disconnected from your higher purpose. Reclaiming your spirit begins with reconnecting to the divine, whatever that means for you. It might be through prayer, meditation, or simply a commitment to live with integrity and purpose. When your spirit is aligned with a higher calling, you will experience a sense of peace, fulfillment, and clarity that lust cannot provide. This connection to something greater than yourself will provide the strength to resist temptation, the grace to forgive yourself when you fall, and the wisdom to understand the deeper meaning of your struggles. One of the most powerful ways to reclaim your spirit is through service. Helping others, focusing on something beyond your own desires, creates a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. Lust will always seek to isolate you in your own cravings, but the spirit thrives in community, compassion, and service. In summary, breaking the chains of lust is about reclaiming your mind, body, and spirit. It starts with awareness and discipline, but it requires a deeper commitment to live in alignment with your true self. You have the power to choose freedom over bondage, clarity over confusion, and strength over weakness. When you reclaim your whole being, you not only break free from the chains of lust, you become the person you were always meant to be. 6. The call to action. The challenge for the modern world. The battle against lust is not just an individual struggle. It is a collective crisis that spans across generations, cultures, and societies. The modern world is caught in a web of distractions, temptations, and false promises that offer instant gratification, but deliver nothing but emptiness. In this age of hyperconnectivity, where every corner of your life is bombarded by sexual imagery and instant pleasure, the stakes have never been higher. Lust is no longer a quiet vice. It's a cultural norm. It's in the advertisements you scroll past, the films you watch, the social media you consume, and even in the thoughts that pop into your head when you least expect it. It surrounds you, whispers in your ear, and seeks to pull you into its grasp. But here's the truth. It doesn't have to be this way. The time to act is now. You must rise above the noise, reclaim your focus, and make a conscious choice to step away from the siren call of lust. This isn't just a battle for your body, it's a battle for your mind and your spirit. Every moment you feed this hunger, you move further away from the powerful, purposeful life you were destined to live. Lust does not care about your potential. It only seeks to drain you of your energy, your clarity, and your sense of fulfillment. It offers you a temporary high, but in the end it leaves you emptier than before. This is your challenge. Break free from the chains of lust before it destroys what is most important to you. Break free from the endless cycle of short-term pleasures that rob you of long-term peace. It's not enough to simply resist lust. You must actively replace it with something greater, something more fulfilling. Reconnect with your purpose. Reconnect with your deeper sense of self. Discover a life of clarity, of genuine love, and of unshakable spiritual connection. The world will try to keep you distracted, to keep you numb, to keep you under its control, but you have a choice. Will you be a slave to your desires, or will you take a stand and reclaim what is yours? The modern world needs you to be present, to be powerful, to be whole. Step into that power. Choose freedom. The time for action is now. Lust may seem like a fleeting indulgence, a momentary escape from the pressures of life, but its cost is far greater than you realize. It doesn't just take your energy, it erodes your mind, poisons your body, and shackles your spirit. It makes you believe that fleeting pleasure is worth sacrificing the depths of your potential. But true fulfillment is found in reclaiming control over your desires, in aligning your mind, body, and spirit in harmony. The path forward isn't easy, but it's worth it. Each day you choose to fight against the pull of lust, you take one more step towards the person you were always meant to become, a person who is present, focused, and deeply connected to a higher purpose. You don't need to be defined by your weaknesses or your past mistakes. Your strength lies in your ability to choose differently, to break free from the chains that hold you down. Reclaim your power, reclaim your life. The mind-body-spirit connection is the foundation of your true strength. Don't let lust rob you of that. Rise above and choose to live fully whole, empowered, and free. The journey starts today.